Welcome to Objections with C. Stanley Willis. I'm Michael Morris. This over here is C. Stanley Willis. C. Stanley, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Do you like that, by the way, when I give the C. Stanley?
I don't give a shit.
Okay, well, I'm not going to put all that effort into it because I still want to go back to Duck Willis, and you won't let me. I thought we would have fun today.
Nobody not on NCIS is named Duck.
That's not true. I think there was a cowboy named Duck in Tombstone.
Duck.
He wasn't a main character. He didn't have lines.
Donald is named Duck.
Well, you also are someone that walks around your workplace with no pants on. So my question, but I love your hat. Can I ask you a question?
Uncle.
Why does
you notice none of the Disney characters have parents? They only have aunts and uncles.
Somehow they have enough money to have a home, though. You know
True.
why? Because that's got to be like Valhalla. Nobody works. They hang out with their dog, who also talks.
It's because Scrooge has all that money and he just pays for it.
But how did he make that money? No one ever explains
Who knows?
it.
He's probably a
OnlyFans?
I think that Scrooge probably made his money the American way.
Stealing from the Indians?
In the mafia.
Oh, you think he's mobbed up?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know he has a chain wallet? And you never see where that wallet's at?
I think he was running alcohol during Prohibition. And
God, I hope so.
Stuff. Yeah.
I hope Prohibition comes back because I've got a master plan how to sell booze out of my basement.
Do you?
I've been thinking about it for a while. Like
keep planning, buddy.
2 or 3 weeks. I don't stay on a topic for very long, but 2 or 3 weeks, and I have to figure it out.
2 or 3 weeks, and you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a little speakeasy down there in your basement.
No. No one's allowed in my house.
No, it's allowed in your house.
I'm purely export only.
Because why? What's going on in your house?
None of your goddamn business. I just don't like. You know why I don't like people coming in your house? Because they never
feel
leave.
Like I'm interviewing John Wayne Gacy.
No, just don't look in the basement. Actually, that's where the office is. That's where the economic forum is.
You don't go prowling around Chicago looking for little boys, do you?
Well, not young. Not in their teens. It's not young. Anyway, speaking of people that do horrible things, let's summarize our Johnny Depp Amber Turd story. Not because we're going to talk about the case itself. We're going to talk about how hilarious some of these things are going. Because I'm sure you've been in court before where you've looked across and you're like, this dude has no chance of winning because of his attorney.
Right.
Have you ever seen an attorney that you
do have that where you're just going, you have no idea what you're doing.
But do you ever see the same guy or girl? Girls can be idiots too. I don't want to be gender specific. Everyone's a moron. Right. But do you ever see the same attorney that's appeared in different court cases where you're like, you were the shits over here and you're going to do this one here? You're going to lose on this one again?
I think that's I don't think that's uncommon. I haven't personally had a series of cases with somebody who I thought was a complete idiot, but I've seen that happen before. Yeah.
Who's the worst attorney in Columbus? And tell us their name and their phone number.
Wow, worst attorney.
I'm kidding. Give me the website.
Better call Saul.
Listen, as you and I both know, we've met several attorneys as attorneys ourselves, in social situations.
As attorneys ourselves.
Do you know what?
I think Mike Morris is probably the worst attorney in Columbus because he's not one.
It's Michael Morris, Esquire. Thank you.
Mike's personal cell phone number is.
Give out my. I am gonna. Before the show's over, I'm gonna represent somebody in court.
Mike would love to hear from you.
You told me I could not be a lawyer because I didn't go to law school, and I'm going to tell you how you're wrong.
Okay, that's not actually 100% true. You could move to California and you could take the bar exam in California without going to law school.
Okay, I'm going to tell you of a documented case.
I'm not sure how. I just know it's possible.
There was a guy who was an architect who represented himself and his family against somebody that claimed that they were hurt in a car accident, and his name was Mike Brady. I don't know if you saw that episode of the Brady Bunch. They won. He had no law experience. Top that.
That's because Mike Brady was a special guy.
Yeah, and you know
they
what?
They don't make him like Mike Brady.
When the show was over, they found out Mike Brady also liked special guys. It made that family dynamic change for me.
Is that shocking to you?
That an actor might be AC-doocy?
Right. Is that shocking to you?
Only in certain cases, like Tom Cruise, that
What's
doesn't
more
bother me.
shocking is that Florence was sleeping with Greg. I mean, that's not Florence. What was the wife?
No, you said it right.
Florence Henderson. What was her name on the show?
Jan
Carol.
Brady. Carol Brady.
Carol. Carol was sleeping with Greg.
Does that bother you? That's a
Kinda
very
freaky.
May,
It's
December romance.
Kind of Oedipus-like, don't you think? Sleeping with Dad's wife.
I think it's worse for Greg, not for Florence. Because Florence is just doing what every man in Hollywood's always done. Like, you always take your age minus 17, and that's the woman you're with in Hollywood. Right? So, like, Al Pacino's 81, and his girlfriend's 28 years old. So that math checks out.
So it kind of worked for Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher.
Wait a minute. He's not even married to her, so it didn't work
But they were married.
for a little while. Oh, you're saying because they stooped?
I'm saying because she's like my age and he's like 10.
She looks better now at 60-some years old than she did at 20 years old. Agreed or not agreed? Why is this taking so long to think about?
I don't really remember what she looked like.
Well, look at her today. She's in some commercial with Mila Kunis. How awkward is that they're both wives of Ashton Kutcher? Totally talented. Did you know that? He's married to Mila Kunis now? I'm glad we're following what we said we were going to follow. We're going to get back to that in a minute. I just want to...
Ashton Kutcher's...
is married to Mila Kunis.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Well, when a man meets a woman and they have feelings for each other, and then their loins get engorged, that's how they end up together.
Isn't Ashton Kutcher, wasn't he like he was like an engineering student or something when he got on that 70s show?
That might be what they said, but he was a male model.
Was he a male model?
That's how he got on the show.
No wonder he wasn't making any money.
No, but he's big in the crypto thing.
Is he?
Crypto, he was one of the biggest investors in Uber. Like, what do you call those, unicorn investors or whatever? You know, the guys that get on the bottom floor? Angel investor. A unicorn investor is probably something disgusting with glitter. I noticed you were making a face, but you didn't know any different, but you were thinking about the glitter part, which is okay with me.
I was just
judgment.
I was just thinking he's rambling on. Has no idea what he's saying. It's like what I was.
That's why we have other people in the room so they can correct me when I say something wrong.
Forgive Mike. He's just talking right now.
Listen, let's get to the important stuff, okay? The girl that poops in beds.
The poop bed.
Her case looks terrible for her because every single person that's been pulled up that's on her side has been worse than the last.
That is what's happening.
So the number one question I have is she's going to lose, and she's going to lose big.
Be my guess. Yeah, I mean, you don't know you never know what's going to happen with the jury, but yeah.
Are you saying like the OJ trial? Like we all thought he was going to jail and he didn't go to jail? I mean, he went eventually.
I never thought OJ was going to go to jail.
I didn't either because he was too famous.
I didn't think OJ was going to go to jail because he...
Innocent? Are you saying OJ was innocent?
No, I'm saying he had...
Are you saying you have evidence that he did it?
I would say that the prosecution didn't do a great job in that trial. And
we should cover that one time.
And the whole if it does not fit, you must acquit thing, that was genius. It's him trying to put that glove on.
Well, you know why he tried the glove on? Did you ever read it?
The prosecution wanted him to try the glove on. They don't do that. It's dumb.
What's the guy's name? F. Lee Bailey walks up to Christopher Darden and says, "You don't have the balls to do that."
Really?
And that's why. They knew that they couldn't introduce it. So they challenged Christopher Darden. And that's why when he does it so aggressively, he's pissed because he didn't ask Marsha Clark or anybody else. I think the other guy's name was Harkin or something.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell them he's going to do it. So if you watch them, they have no idea what he's doing at the table, and he thinks he's got them because they'd already worked in the "if it doesn't fit, it must have quit" line. But they couldn't introduce it into evidence unless he did it. Right. And then he gets tricked into doing it because they kept... He and Johnny Cochran were actually friends.
Oh, really?
So Johnny Cochran couldn't do it to him because he couldn't anger him. But F. Lee Bailey, since he's a prick, he could do it because at that point, his part of the trial was over with.
Right.
All he did was egg them on. 15 minutes later, they introduce it, and then that's the case right there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was the whole... That whole interchange right there was... Nothing else really mattered.
So again, back to Amber Turd. So if she loses, does she walk out and refile this whole thing, or can they, like?
I mean, once it's gone, it's gone.
But she doesn't have $50 million. So how would she pay him?
Probably file bankruptcy.
So really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he gets the money. I think it doesn't matter if he gets.
This is all just a bunch of irrelevant horse crap.
Have you seen her acting? This could destroy her career. She's literally been in 4 things. One, she played a zombie for a minute. She was very good.
As a zombie?
No, she was terrible at that. I'm saying she's got to be good at something. She's not a good enough actress on the stand.
She's apparently good at pooping in beds.
She said that was the dogs. All I know is I saw that and it looked like an aerial map of Egypt.
She's probably pretty good at kicking Johnny Depp's butt, looks like.
Here's the other thing. So a woman strikes you. How many times does she have to punch you before you can give her a big old snap kick right in the ear and you're not in trouble? 5? What's the limit?
I was saying probably, I don't know. I don't know how.
I'm going to put my law license on the line and say 7.
7? 7's the number.
But they got to be documented.
You got to take 7 shots before you can return
Yeah, because
fire.
the first one could be an accident, right? The second one, you might have earned it. Then after a while, you're kind of like a beaten spouse. But then when she doesn't see it, you fake with the left, bam, soup bone right in the mouth.
It probably depends on the person, how hard she hits, those kinds of things. I mean, if you got a UFC fighter, you might be wasting your time defending yourself anyway.
I don't know that you should marry a UFC fighter at all.
It's up to you, man.
Well, I'm going to turn it down, but thank you for the offer.
I think you should. I think you should marry.
I don't want a woman that's going to fight at all. At least fight back. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine to be around a woman and every once in a while and you kind of backhand her, but if she's going to fight back, she's in the wrong. So the question being that, so his $50 million, he's probably never going to see that, right? Because from what I understand, she didn't even have the $7 million.
I don't think anybody's going to see anything out of this thing. I think that probably what her charges are go away. I think that what Johnny Depp gets out of this is what he wanted from the beginning, and that is for her just to shut her mouth.
Isn't this the worst way to get proven that you're a piece of shit, though? I mean, there's nothing that looks good for her in this whole thing.
No, and it doesn't look all that great on him. It just kind of get the impression watching him he didn't care all that much.
I don't think he cared at all about that. I mean, he's been divorced before, right? So it's no big deal. I think he just wanted to be able to resume his career, and everyone's saying he's a woman.
I think the ultimate thing that happened is when Pirates of the Caribbean got canceled. Right. I think he was.
I think there's like a $30 million paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the Pirates of the Caribbean getting canceled, or Pirates of the Caribbean being canceled, is probably the impetus of the whole thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that well. I don't pay that much attention, honestly. But you know, when she came out and kind of accused him of whacking her around, and Disney being Disney. Oh my goodness, we can't have that going on.
Yeah, you can have sex trafficking at Disney, but you cannot beat up a woman.
Right.
That's like on the head mast when you drive through there. What happens to that law firm that's representing her? I mean, how many bad Google reviews are they about to get? I mean, can you recover? You can't. That's a high profile case, and you are literally tanking it.
It's definitely not good publicity. Definitely not good publicity. And there are times when, from the clips I've seen, again, I'm not following the trial day in and day out. There are times when I think the lawyers for Ms. Heard appear to be surprised by things that are happening. They just in trial practice, and you know, I'm not somebody who's been in trial hundreds of times and all that.
I am,
kind of
but
stuff.
go on.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been. All of your criminal prosecutions as a juvenile do not count.
I've not won one of them, but I've been there.
But Kendra's making fun of us again.
I dislike it when Kendra, she's over there judging us.
With that judgy look. Yeah.
But I'm used to being in front of judges, if you will.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not, but typically in a trial, by the time you come to trial, everybody on the legal side, so the judge and the attorneys for both sides, have a really good handle on how it's going to play. I mean, everybody knows who's going to testify. Everybody knows what evidence is going to come in. Everybody knows pretty much the order that it's all going to come in. Everybody's done depositions, so you know how the questioning is.
And this is 6 years worth of this building up to this. So this wasn't something that 6 months ago they decided.
So in your typical trial is usually pretty well orchestrated and pretty set, pretty structured. There's not a lot of Perry Mason moments where
there's not that aha, I didn't see this coming,
where the witness walks in right at the end of the case and blows the case wide open. That really doesn't, especially in a civil trial, that doesn't happen. So for the lawyers to be surprised by something is not good.
Well, it's like Kendra was saying before we started when they brought the ex-TMZ employee on.
Right.
So they let him go through his whole thing, and she says that basically, Kendra, what's the quote? You're getting your 15 minutes of fame out of this.
Right.
And he turns around and says, how does this benefit me? He doesn't work for TMZ. He didn't volunteer. They made him come.
Right.
And then he turns around and says, couldn't they say the same thing about you?
Right.
Isn't that like lack of control of the witness that you didn't know?
She was trying to draw an inference that the only reason that he would be. I mean, she's trying to get the jury to think that
he's getting something out of this.
That he's getting something out of us, but again, she should have been prepared for how that was going to go. She should have been through that in deposition. She should have known how that was going to play out, because they should have deposed that witness, and they should have already known what that person's testimony was going to be like. So, maybe they didn't depose the witness. Maybe this was, but
I think at one point that because it was TMZ, they couldn't make TMZ come in.
Well, right,
said,
but
he didn't work there.
Even if I'm in the middle of the trial and I come up with a new witness that was somehow unavailable before, opposing counsel still can say, look, we haven't had an opportunity to examine this witness. We need to be able to take a deposition, and typically you get that, even if it's in the middle of trial.
I want to go back to a different thing that happened that I think it happened the same day, where a couple weeks ago when Amber Heard's on the stand. She's talking about how she almost had like PTSD, and her first thought was Kate Moss getting thrown down a staircase. So that's an old rumor that had come up, and it had been in print and all that other stuff, but it was nobody ever asked either one of them about it, right?
Right.
And his attorneys are so pumped up because you can't introduce something from outside, right. So they're pumped. I don't know how long she was on like a Zoom call type thing. It looked like it was 3 minutes total. And they literally just asked her the one question: did he ever hit you, push you down the stairs? And she said, no, Johnny never touched me, kicked me, and blah, blah. Thanks a lot, bye. She screwed herself by saying that on the stand and introduced. It's kind of like we were talking. I don't know if we were saying this while we were on the show about the Christopher Darden thing.
Right.
You introduced something you didn't have to introduce. So basically, you hung yourself. Is that on the attorney for not preparing her, or is that because she has a pumpkin head and doesn't know what to do?
Or maybe both. I mean, maybe both. And if you don't want, if you think that Kate Moss is going to have testimony that will be helpful, then you want to bring it in. But if you think that her testimony is going to hurt you, then you don't mention her name.
Right.
And that's just standard practice. And I mean, it could be that the attorney didn't prep her enough, or it could be that Amber Heard's just arrogant enough that she's just going to get up there and wing it.
She just didn't seem to be a credible witness, and it's like, I think she name dropped that thing thinking it was going to help. Like, who's going to call? What the hell did I say her name was? Kate. Who's going to call Kate? How bad is that I forgot her name? You should have seen her.
Kate
Oof. Oof. I'd like her to throw me down some stairs. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? I want to be in a loving relationship with her. But never mind. She's like 50 years old, isn't she? That's too old for me.
I think I'm having a hard time with your euphemisms here.
I don't. That's because you've been married a long time.
Really?
When you're single a long time, I got tons of them. They don't all go together.
Of euphemisms?
Yep.
Okay.
I've got a
You
plethora of euphemisms.
You understand that a euphemism is supposed to make it sound better.
Yes, but I have a high school education. Well, I mean, I went to college, but my education was at Grove City High School, so it's not very good.
Wait, you graduated from Grove City High School?
High school and college.
What year? You didn't go to Grove City College. That's in
Are
Pennsylvania.
you kidding me? I went to Ohio Dominican
My wife
College.
went to Grove City College.
Are you serious?
Yeah, in Grove City.
Same
Pennsylvania.
curriculum? Was she also on the basketball team?
No, she was in the
Because they didn't have the right shorts.
She was
for
a
us.
feature twirler in the band.
I know. We've had this conversation about the twirling, and it still upsets me that like 9 people here twirl.
Oh, it's amazing. Ashley too. Ashley was a majorette. Yeah.
Do you think that that's by happenstance, or is that like you hired twins on purpose? Like, I don't understand how that happens.
Well, I mean, it's one of the pre-qualifications we have for being attorney here.
It's on paper. Are you good with fingering?
Twirling, actually.
Whatever I said. That's not funny. Speaking of fingers,
Make him stop, please, Kendra. I mean, nearly.
this show's almost over. I want to get
Is
back.
it really? I'm
Yes,
sad.
but you led me perfectly to the thing that I
I'm
want to
sad
talk about.
that. I led you perfectly to.
Yes, to fingering. They brought a doctor in from North Carolina who had never examined him. No, this is going somewhere. They brought this guy in who is a expert on hand surgery and all that.
Uh-huh.
So he's never examined Johnny Depp. He's only seen pictures and all that. And he's trying to discredit Johnny Depp's finger injury coming from her cutting him, right? So while he's on the stand, he's giving this testimony. And basically, by him just going, well, no, I've never met him. Never saw his finger, just saw a picture of it. But I can tell you, I can guarantee it didn't happen from this. What was the point of putting that person even on the stand? And then he said he'd seen his hands in other movies. He said, I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean. So they start naming the movies, and he goes, did you see him in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? No, I never saw that. So then the debate becomes, you didn't see that?
Did you see him in Edward Scissorhands?
See, that's the one I wish would have got brought up. Did he get hurt in 1990 on Edward Scissorhands? I just don't know. To me, it almost seems like
That's
this,
what I would have brought up.
This seems
totally
like
talking about
that would have been
Edward
hilarious.
Scissorhands. I mean, that would have been my whole. I think if you had Johnny Depp, I mean, the whole thing would have been put his characters on trial. You know how sadistic Willy Wonka is?
He should have dressed up every day. Like she was dressing up like him. I don't know if you noticed that, which is so weird because how would you know what he's wearing? Yeah. You would have to buy every piece of clothing and just go, is he wearing this tunic today? I have no idea. But he should have dressed up one day as one of his characters. Because you know the jury would have loved that.
Oh, totally. And, you know.
Unless he was in that Fantastic Beasts of Dumbledore or whatever that's called.
Wait, didn't he do, he did a cartoon. Wasn't he in the Peach?
Rango.
The Peach movie.
Oh, James and the Giant Peach?
James the Giant Peach. Wasn't Johnny Depp in that?
I'm not sure. We could watch it. We could put it on
maybe
behind us the next show.
I might have hallucinated that. I don't know.
There was in a cartoon called Rango.
Rango.
Where he played like a lizard that was a cowboy.
A cowboy lizard.
This is why I wasn't able to testify because I know too much about him. I would have been Team Johnny Depp. I've only seen Amber Heard in a couple things. But we're soon to see her on the internet trying to make her money. Wink, wink, you know what I mean? She'll never get another job.
Gotta make a living, right?
She's going to be outlawed like Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey's outlawed?
Every masseuse or person that had a lawsuit against him got killed.
Killed.
Yeah. No more lawsuits if you can't show up to court.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Google that if you want to. Kevin Spacey.
Wow.
He's like 11 for 11 people that are no longer breathing.
Aren't we talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, though?
Yes, but I wanted to introduce that Kevin Spacey's also a piece of trash and people are dying.
Right.
I just meant as an attorney, you had to look at this and go, that's a circus. That's not a real trial.
It is.
It started off well.
You know, honestly, they should have just put Captain Jack on trial. You know,
They've tried to do that so many times. They make him walk the plank and he always gets out of it.
but if they just, but the jury would get to hear what a dishonorable, evil person he is.
but he always does the right thing in the end. That's the best way to I wrote the closing argument. I need to call them and tell them I already wrote it. When is the thing? When is it over? Today?
I don't know if it's today or tomorrow.
Either way. If they need
Last week she said I want it done by Memorial.
if they need co-counsel, I'm available. Stan, look over here. You're looking offset. Don't do that. Nope. Look here. Okay, we're still doing the show. Okay.
It's more interesting over there.
Oh, trust me, I know. That's why I was looking over there. So in summary, do you think we're going to see these Hollywood trials like this again?
I certainly hope so. It's wildly entertaining.
I honestly think it's being put on for television for some gaga type of moment. While the world is burning, people are watching Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. If you really think about
What I want to see is I want to see all of the people who have ever played Batman all sue each other.
for what? Gimmick infringement?
For exactly for copyright infringement.
You can't do that now. Val Kilmer has no
characters.
voice. He can't even talk.
I think that would be an entertaining try. So you have Kristen Bale and Val Kilmer.
You know what we're going to do? While we're signing off today, I'm going to call Adam West and see if he's available.
Adam West. Yeah, he might be.
R.I.P. And also R.I.P. the show. You've been listening to Objections with Stan Willis. We'll see you next week.